What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Touchdown with Doug Smith. I'm joined here today with my co-host, Adrian Soup Campbell, and we're going to bring you our NFC East season predictions. We're going to talk about the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and then also as well the Commanders, because they're still a team, right? We're going to talk about all four teams. We're going to see our predictions first as a collective, and then we're going to share our thoughts on the division as a whole, because this division could potentially produce the next Super Bowl champion. Very exciting. We're going to kick it off with the New York Giants, because between them and the Seattle Seahawks, they shocked a lot of people last year. I was totally wrong on their record. Holy cow, I got to own up to it, because when I did this video last year, go watch it, man, I couldn't be more wrong. That being said, I repented for my football sins. And let's get into it. So Giants, I'm gonna say my prediction. You say your Soup, then we'll move to the next team, and then we're gonna talk about the division as a whole. Giants, look, this team is still in rebuilding mode. Super well coached team. Daniel Jones, dang it, I want him just to not be a quarterback in the NFL, but man, he is. I shouldn't say that. He's getting the job done, and they're winning with him. And I guess that's what matters, right? The frustrating team that Saquon was once complaining about no longer is there. I mean, this is a totally different team. I have this team coming into the playoffs at 11 wins. How many wins you got them at?
Oh, you're generous. Give me 9-8 or 8-9.
Okay, cool. Cowboys, what you got them at?
Cowboys. Give me a second. If you got yours, you go ahead and say yours, because give me a second to think on Dallas.
No, you good. I got the Cowboys competing for first place at 11 wins. And I'm not, y'all know me, y'all watch the show, and if you're new to the show, you know me, I have tons of Cowboys banter, but I got to give y'all your flowers. I love what y'all did in this year's draft. Dak is suspect, but I got y'all at 11 wins. What you got for Cowboys?
Give me 10 and 7.
Ooh, okay, I love it. All right, man. The Commanders, Washington Commanders, who could potentially be changing their name again soon.
Washington Commanders question mark?
Yeah. Asterisks. What you got, man?
Oh, yikes.
Second year quarterback. He wowed you at the end of the year last year.
Did he?
I'll go first. I got the Commanders.
Give me 6 and 11, 7 and 10.
Okay, yeah. I got the Commanders at 7 wins. Maximum 8, but 7 wins.
Yeah, 6 and 11, 7 and 10 feels good.
Yeah, 7 and 10. Oh yeah. Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Are they gonna pull Buccaneers and like not be hungry anymore to play football? What's gonna happen, right? I'll go first on this one. I got the Philadelphia Eagles taking a win in the division. I think it's gonna be scrappy at times. I think even the Commanders could potentially get a win on them. I got them at 12 wins. Philadelphia Eagles.
This is the team that I have going against Dallas for it, and it's probably going to be whoever owns the final head-to-head match over that one. But this is another 10 and 7, possibly 11 and 6.
Oh, okay. I like it, man. I like it. They're gonna have some losses in there, but man, I like it, man.
Yeah. Well, we can talk when we talk about the division. I'll kind of explain kind of my thought process behind why I have where they at.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's crazy, man? Eagles have the 6th hardest schedule. So, Soup, you could potentially be onto something. Then we got the Giants, who have one of the easiest schedules, right? And then let's see where the Commanders are at. I'm checking it here on my screen here. Commanders. They have the 10th hardest schedule. Cowboys have the 9th hardest schedule. I think we're fair. I think you and I are really like in the same area.
Look, so this is what I'm gonna say about the NFC East, right? Like it used to be called the NFC least. I don't think you can call it the NFC least. I think the NFC West is probably that right now. Outside of San Francisco. But right, let's talk about what happened in the offseason just briefly. Jalen Hurts got paid, deservedly so, right? Like this is a guy that they weren't even sure was going to be their franchise quarterback. Like it came out that they were actively trying to acquire Russell Wilson. So that shows you what kind of faith they had in Jalen Hurts, and that it was actually Russell Wilson himself that stopped the deal because he had no interest going into Philly, right? But I think Jalen Hurts more than proved that he is a starting quarterback in this league. I don't know if he is a star, right? I think he's good to great. So I think he's in that tier. He's above the Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott's of the world. I think he's in that tier that's right above him, but he's
You talking
not.
about Jalen Hurts?
Yeah,
I
I
got
think
him
he's.
great, brother. He was great last year, man.
But here's the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
the year before, he was good. The
Yeah.
year last year was great. Give me another great season. Once
Okay.
again,
That's fair. That's
anybody can
fair.
have
He
a
didn't win
great.
a chip yet, so that's fair.
It's consistency. So this is not me hating on Jalen. And I
Yeah.
think, Jalen is the one person that's like he's doubled down, tripled down on himself. Like this guy believes in himself, and that's why he's in the position that he's in right now, right? That's why he just got the bag that he got, because he's doubled down and tripled down on who he is, and he's shown up and he's proven itself every time. So it's not that I don't think he can be. I just think if you had to realistically rank where he is right now, let's not just rank it off of what happened last season and how they finished last season. Let's look at his entire body of work, right? I think he's in that tier that's above the Daks and the Kirks. But I think he's still below that tier that's going to have your Josh Allens, Joe Burrows, and stuff. Like he's right there. So he's in the good to great tier. He's not as quite a superstar quarterback. Now, that being said, we had him getting paid. We also from that same team, right? They lost both coordinators. We're not talking one. We're talking on the defensive and offensive side of the ball.
One
What is
went to
that team going
Arizona.
to look like? There's a lot of questions about what they're going to look like. The players have largely stayed the same. They did a good job of trying to keep that roster together. That worked out well for Tampa when they were trying to run back their Super Bowl hopes, right? They had a very good record that took them into the postseason. Didn't work out so well with the Rams as they tried to retain most of their roster, right? We saw what kind of season that the Rams just came off of. So trying to keep that roster intact, is it going to do well for them? Who knows? Who can say, right? I don't know how y'all keep letting them draft every single defensive player from Georgia, from these championship Georgia football teams.
Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Like I don't understand it. So obviously, I love their draft defensively. I think they're going to continue to be a monster. I think the picks that they made last year and this year are going to replace some of these players that we're expecting to leave the team or retire within the next few years, right? We're talking your Fletcher Coxes, Brandon Grahams, Ronald Darby's, the guys that have the senior citizens of the team, if you will, the Jason Kelsey's and stuff like that. Like they've kind of done what they need to do to kind of make sure that they're not going to have that much drop off. But I think we're going to have to see how these coordinators offset on that. And then with Dallas, right, I think the big question that you have in Dallas is not necessarily, you know what you have in terms of players. Like we know what we have in terms of players, right? Tony Pollard is going to come back. What is he going to look like after the injury? Zeke isn't there anymore, right? Zeke doesn't have a home. Maybe he ends up back in Dallas on a much, 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 much more team-friendly deal. I think CeeDee Lamb is in line to get paid. I think CeeDee Lamb is good, not great receiver, right? I think Amari Cooper is still superior to him. So I think if you pay him, right, you're paying for what, in my opinion, I don't think he's a 1. I think CeeDee Lamb's a 2. Dallas fans, you can hate me if you want. I think he's a 2. I don't think he's a 1. I think he's a 1 in your system because you guys don't have anybody better than him. But, right, Micah Parsons is a force to be reckoned with. He's going to be the top paid defender in the league, rightfully so, when it's his time to get paid. That offensive line, which used to be, right, stalwart, you can count on them. I don't think that's the same offensive line. Dak is who Dak is. You guys can convince yourselves that he's something that he's not. I know what Dak is. He's mediocre, right? He's Kirk Cousins. He's Kirk Cousins with a better arm.
Can we talk about Luke Schoonmaker though, man? What are your expectations for him? Because
I like Schoonmaker. I think he's a great replacement for Dalton Schultz. I don't like that Kellen Moore got the blame for how they finished this season. I think Kellen Moore was part of the recipe for their success. And I don't think that Mike McCarthy really allowed Kellen Moore to do his thing, right? I think Mike McCarthy believes that he's a much better coach than he is. And what really happens with Mike McCarthy was blessed to work with a Hall of Fame quarterback, right, that covered a lot of Mike McCarthy's coaching warts. That's not to say that Mike McCarthy is a terrible coach. But I think you've seen Mike McCarthy kind of get exposed in these places where instead of him having Aaron Rodgers, now he has a Dak Prescott. What's he going to look like without Kellen Moore, who I think is going to be in a better place in Los Angeles with the Chargers and the arm talent that they have there and Justin Herbert over there, right? So what are they going to look like? We talk about the Commanders, right? We talked about this in the other show. This league is shifted heavily towards offense, right? Ron Rivera, I have a lot of respect for the man. He's overcome cancer, right? He's beat cancer. He's steady. Riverboat Ron, right? I think he's a good coach. I think
he retires after this year, bro.
Well, even if he doesn't retire this year, I don't think he has a job at the end of the season. I don't think that they're going to finish in a place where the new ownership group, right? We're talking about them, a new ownership group. What happens when you get a new ownership group? They want their coaches, they want their GM, they want their people, right?
Maybe it, depending on how the offense look, Eric Bieniemy could be. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but
right.
I'm getting ahead of myself. He could be the coach next year.
And I'm glad you brought up Eric Bieniemy, right? Like,
yeah.
We've pounded on this channel that Bieniemy deserves a chance to be a head coach in this league, and it is absolute garbage that he hasn't been given that opportunity to be a head coach for whatever reasons. I'll let you guys argue the politics among yourselves, but I think if you watch football, I think if you understand, Eric Bieniemy has at least done enough to earn the opportunity, because there are current coaches in this league that are head coaches that have not had the success that Eric Bieniemy has had, that have come from similar origins, and they've been given an opportunity to do it, no questions asked. But every time we talk about Eric Bieniemy, y'all bringing up a roster of things. But that aside, right? He's got an opportunity to prove himself. He's got an opportunity to prove himself. Does he have the tools, right? Does he have the tools there to really do it? Or was it Andy Reid? Was it Patrick Mahomes? Or can he make Sam Howell into something usable? I don't think Sam Howell is the future of this franchise. Once again, the new ownership group, they're going to get a new head coach. They're going to get a new GM. That regime will draft their quarterback of the future or acquire their long-term quarterback of the future. I don't believe it's going to be Sam Howell unless he comes out and just has a monster season, right? I like Scary Terry. I like Johan Dotson. I think they're the same player. I really do. I think they're the same player, and there's a lot of good things that they had happening on that offense. I think it's a team that's potentially on the ascension, especially with the new ownership group. You think they're going to come in there and hopefully stabilize that franchise, because it is one of the league's storied franchises. It would be nice to see them restored to prominence again, because the league just feels better when these historical franchises are doing well. And then I don't want to ignore the Giants, because we've kind of talked about everybody else. Brian Daboll has brought stability to this chaotic organization, right? And not only that, he has gotten Daniel Jones paid, overpaid in my opinion. But but here's the thing, right? Majority of the quarterbacks in this league are overpaid, because that's just what the market is right now. It's not a market where they're really paying you for your talent. They're paying you based off of what your peers are making and how you're performing next to those peers, not necessarily your talent level. And because you're such a pivotal position in this league, right? The quarterback is arguably the most important position in the league currently, especially with it shifted so hard towards offense. They're going to be overpaid. Everybody, you're going to be overpaid, right? Unless you have a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes on your team, right? You're overpaying for your quarterback. Let's be honest. Yeah. Even Josh Allen, right? Like I'll go ahead and say Josh Allen. If you got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes, you're probably paying accurate amount for your quarterback. If you don't have one of those guys, you're probably overpaying for your quarterback, even if you got a good deal on it. But even with Brian Daboll bringing the stability, right, and they kind of cleaned house, they got some of the bad people out of there, some of those bad acquisitions that happened before he got there, right, like Kenny Galladay's out the door and all of that stuff. Saquon is not paid yet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Saquon is happy because he's brought stability to the organization, but Saquon is not happy because he's refusing to sign that franchise tender. So, is Daniel Jones the same quarterback without Saquon? Because there's a lot of those wins last year that they don't get if Saquon doesn't do the work that he does. And the person that they got behind Saquon is nowhere near Saquon, right? Yeah. Daniel Jones, to me, once again, that's another Kirk Cousins level type quarterback. He's Kirk Cousins to Dak Prescott, and I don't think that he's as good as either of those players. Yeah. I don't think that he's as good as either of those players. I think he has the potential to be better than Kirk Cousins, but I think he's not going to be a Dak Prescott. But Brian Daboll's coaching, I think, is worth several wins. They've got a young defense that is on the ascension, but they need a few more pieces to really start challenging. I think just because of the makeup of this league, right? Philly and Dallas are going to be your two top teams, and then depending on how quickly the Commanders or the Giants can get their act together, right? That is how we're going to figure out what the new order of this is. But it starts in Philly, followed by, I would say, Philly 1A, Dallas 1B, and then you can put the Commanders and you can put the Giants at Z and Y somewhere.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys get either the second to last or last spot in the NFC playoff run. Mm-hmm. I got Giants in there. I think it's gonna be real competitive. The question is, can Philly stay hungry? And that's a coach. That's a coaching thing, right? He needs to be able to motivate his guys.
Well, it's not only that. I think it's a quarterback thing, and I think Jalen. I think they have the right leader in the building.
Yeah,
that's going to keep this team hungry.
Yeah.
So that's not, like I said, that's not the question for me. I don't think it's a lack of hunger. And I think especially the way that they lost the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Argue with your mama, it was a legal call. Do we want to see that at the end of a Super Bowl? No. Everybody wanted to go see the Eagles have a chance to come back and answer. But it was a call. And it was the call that was made.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's a good call, you agree with it, don't. It was the call that was made, the outcome was the outcome, right? But I think because of the way that, and I think, yeah, there is a lot of hunger there. These guys feel like they have something to prove, something that they need to get back to.
And the depth on that team, like this year, we're probably going to see a lot more Nakobe Dean. Shout out to Nakobe, friend of the show, been on the show. Marlon Tui Pelotus, another Eagle, Eric Graves, and Giants. So we've interviewed a few of these guys, man. So peep those interviews. They're all pre-draft stuff. But, this team has so much depth, dude. It has so much freaking depth, man, where, like, if you're like a UDFA, if you're a camp body, I almost feel sorry for you, man. Like it's
going to be hard for you to take a roster spot from these guys.
It's going to be crazy hard
because at all the critical positions, they got playmakers.
Yeah,
they got playmakers, brother.
We're talking. I was talking with my homeboy. Shout out to Eric Wren, man, one of my best friends, great dude, man. He's a huge Eagles fan. Him and I were talking the other day. You got 7, maybe 8 teams who could win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Like who win it? Like win it all, right? But when the playoffs, once you get in that playoff, man, anything can happen, man. It's going to be a team that's going to be seasoned, a team that is going to need to overcome adversity. It's going to be a team that is going to need to be gutsy. And again, this NFC East could potentially produce the next Super Bowl.
I'll say this here. This is a team that the Eagles, that's the team I'm talking about. This is a team. Watch out. I think this is a potential landing spot for a Dalvin Cook type player. I think this is a potential landing spot. A guy that's not scared to run between the tackles, that's still got a lot of tread on the tire, can catch the ball out the backfield, right? Help take some of that pressure off of Jalen, right? Because you have to respect what they're doing back there in the backfield. And then you still got Jalen that can kill you with his legs himself, and he has those weapons over the top. Like I said, I have Philly finishing first in this division, followed closely by Dallas, but that could come down to who owns that final head-to-head. And then, like I said, I've got the Commanders finishing at the bottom, and I've got the Giants finishing at the third spot. So that's the way that the NFC East, I see it shaking out. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Hell, if you don't believe me, go back and watch last season's prediction that we did. There was a whole lot of wrong on there. A whole lot of wrong on there, and I own that. Like, there's a lot of egg on my face. Hopefully this year I'll be able to get through the season without so much egg on my face.
So I feel it, man. Well, folks, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith and my co-host, Adrian Soup Campbell. Guys, please be sure to hit subscribe. But man, I gotta shout you out, Soup, man, for you just being a monster, dude. Like hopping in the trenches with me, man, having the difficult conversations of who's gonna do what this year. I know folks is gonna come after both our jugulars, and I love it, man. Like we brought it, man. So thank you, bro, so much. And guys, follow Soup on Twitter, dude. AC to GDB. Follow him. You can also follow him on Instagram as well, too. And of course,
Threads. If you come to my Instagram page, it is a desert. But if you come to Threads, I'll be hanging out in Threads a little bit, especially if we end up all jumping ship off of Twitter. But yeah, come and holler at your boy.
It's going down, man. It's going down. So, and if you guys ever want to take and donate, man, hey, that helps out a lot too. Go donate. All that stuff's going to be down below. Hit that subscribe button. God bless you guys. Catch y'all next time. Touchdown with Doug Smith. Peace.
Turn 100 for the touchdown, king crown, gain inside, leading your town, hit you faster than the sound, bad boy, throw it down, yeah, I'm ill, not my will, don't Copperfield, fill the house, listen to the roaring crowd, drop a light, calm it down, Heisman, all the haters mouth, superhero hit them, wow, packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow, touchdown for the win, we live, subscribe right now.